we know that teams that have it, churches that have it, businesses that have it, they've got vision, they've got focus. When we started studying our different teams and our different churches, there was something that we saw that was special. And the reason I smile when I mention this is because you've been in the middle of some of the most special, fun stories with this one. There is when teams have it, there is an unmistakable camaraderie. There's it's like a team that, going for the Super Bowl, World Series, whatever it is. Like there's this, even if you don't always like each other, you still enjoy each other somehow.
For sure.
And tell us a little bit about when we discovered this, how we discovered it, and what you remember about the camaraderie in the early years that contributed to it.
Yeah, I think there's a direct correlation in the it factor and how many practical jokes might get played with
Possibly
a team.
So.
There may be a little
Possibly
something there. I might have been on the receiving end one time. Somebody had played a practical joke on you. I ended up somehow getting the blame for it. And we might just say when I got in my car that afternoon, a stink bomb might have gone off in there. And so that was fun.
But we're not going to say what the practical joke was to me because there would be people would have to repent of some serious stuff.
Tell you, they'd have to. Yeah, they sure would. But I think it's interesting about this as a leader. Why do you feel like maybe sometimes leaders can overlook this idea of camaraderie and in regards to trying to create a team that has it?
I actually think a lot of leaders do overlook it. And because we miss the byproduct of what missional success can bring. And we're just so focused on the end, let's hit the target, let's hit the numbers, let's hit the ministry objectives, whatever it is, that you tend to forget that it's really, really, really fun to do this if you do it together. And sometimes I think one of the reasons we don't do it together is because as leaders, the trajectory of focus is toward ourselves. And so we tend to become more prideful, more inward-looking, more narcissistic, more demanding. And so we rob the team of feeling that they contribute to the win. But when we're not me-centered, but you-centered, and we say we're about you as a team, and we give away credit when credit is due, and we're generous with our words, and we cheer people on, and we actually help them feel like they're winning, that's just fun. And then there's a sense of momentum. You played sports growing up. When you've got some mo, you just tend to win more.
That's exactly right.
And if you're unified, you tend to win more. If you don't like each other, if you hate practice, if you don't like your coach, if you don't like the team, if you don't like the gym you're working out, whatever, you don't play well. And so what we want to do is we want to try to create a culture where our team members feel valued, feel cared for, feel like they're part of something special. And the byproduct of that kind of missional alignment is like, we like working together.
Absolutely. And I think it's to touch a little bit on this because through the years, there have been a number of times here and there where we may go out and we may do an event or something, but truthfully, it's as much fun just in the moment. And I like, you talk about this before, you got the bond in the battle a little bit. You talk about that. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, so there's, by an event, what you're referring to is some people go do team building events.
Right.
And they go bowling together, they go and do laser tag together, ropes courses. And those can be good. I don't ever initiate those. Some team members do, and they get a lot of value out of them, and I support it. My favorite type of camaraderie is the bond in the battle. And that would be like the time that years ago when we had a projector that the bulb went out, and it was so high, and you went out and got how tall would the ladder have been?
It was
like
a 15-foot A-frame.
15-foot ladder, stood on the top of it, risk your life. And we were all standing around kind of like in a circle to catch you if you fell. And what you did was totally stupid.
It was
and
stupid.
we were laughing and we were cheering you on, and it was dangerous and it was fun. And we were doing anything to get the things done together. And that was, to me, better than going off and doing a kumbaya trip. And it was fun because we made it fun.
It was.
It could have been serious, and you could have been seriously hurt.
Could have been.
But it was fun together. And there were times in the early years, back when we had a little more testosterone and the cancel culture wasn't as real, that we would actually get in fights.
Oh, yeah.
Like fun fights.
That was fun.
Like taking each other down.
I remember that.
And wrestling.
I think I won the last one. I
think you have a bad memory. Literally, it was such a fun environment that you would, people would throw stuff. And the goal is not to throw stuff. The goal is not to wrestle. The goal is not to risk your life. The goal is to have so much passion for a mission that you love doing it with people around you.
It's to have fun.
And so we do Gallup's, what's it called? The 12 questions?
12, Q12. Yeah.
Q12. Great tool. And one of the questions is, do you have a best friend at work? So when we're studying organizational health, people say, well, why does that matter if you have a best friend at work?
Right.
The reason is because people are more satisfied, more engaged if they have someone at work that they like. And so we want to create an environment where, for example, during the pandemic, when people couldn't work, there were a lot of people that were like really excited. They couldn't go into the office. They're like, I'm excited we get to work from home. I want to create an environment that's so compelling that you don't want to not be there.
Right.
You want to be a part of the action.
Absolutely. So if somebody's listening to this and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't think my team wants to be around each other. I've created a culture. It's definitely not fun. I don't know that I'm fun. What could they begin to do to try to begin to create some level of camaraderie on their team?
So I'm going to start it, then I want you to add in because you're actually really, really good at this. Yeah, I'd say it starts with the leader. Meaning if we don't laugh, if we don't enjoy, we're not going to model it. And so there are times when I'll come into a room and just be intentionally obnoxious. I would really embarrass my kids, but I'll try to create a moment for somebody. I'll try to cheer someone on. If someone does something great, we want to celebrate it. We have so many celebrations here. It's crazy. I would say like almost, would you say it's exaggeration to say one a week?
No, it's not an exaggeration.
Maybe more. Someone's 5 years, someone's 10 years, someone have this many
500,000 subscribers on YouTube.
500,000 subscribers on YouTube. YouVersion hit a certain milestone. The podcast hit a certain milestone. Social media. So we're looking for reasons to celebrate, but we're not waiting for reasons to have fun.
Absolutely. I think we keep our local cookie businesses in business by just all the celebrations we do, for sure, with all the cookies and fun things that we do. I think it's important, too, as a leader, to be able to laugh at yourself. I think sometimes when you take yourself a little too serious, it can create a little bit of a tense environment. But if you can react like, oh, that was just absolutely stupid. And people are like, oh, we can laugh at him and have fun, appropriately so, and realize that you not take yourself too serious. I do think that also involved in that is team selection is a big process of that.
Chemistry.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, one of the things is we want to like the people that we're interviewing. So if you're interviewing two people and one person is a little more qualified and there is no chemistry whatsoever and you wouldn't want to even have a meal with them, and the other person's a little less qualified and you love them, it's an easy decision for me. You go for the people that you enjoy, that matters so much. And I think that's often overlooked in companies and in churches, is that we're just going for those who produce the most or the most talented. But the whole side of chemistry and joining together, we want to be around people that we love. And oddly enough, it doesn't mean that every day is fun.
Right. And
when we look back, some of the most bonding moments we had were in difficult times. In fact, you're solving a problem right now, a significant problem, and it's not fun, but we're bonded.
Right.
Because I'm in your corner, and yesterday I overheard you helping someone find a better path, and I came in and told you, I admire you, I'm grateful for you. We had a little bit of a moment together, but it was not in a good time, not in a time we would choose, but it's a bonding time. You can bond in your losses, you can bond in your wins. The important thing is you will not bond if you're not around people that you enjoy, if you're not creating moments, if you're not working toward a mission together.
Absolutely. And I think you model that by coming in my office and talking about that. Man, it meant the world that, you know what, you walked in, you were like, I know that was hard, that was difficult, did a heck of a job with it. And then you said something that I want to point out. You said, you know, I don't know that I could do that as well as you did. Like, that was really good. And like, it meant a lot to me. It's like, oh, I actually bring something of value. Because I think it's an important thing for leaders to realize there are people around you that complete you and your ministry becomes better. And that is a secret piece of that. Humility creates a sense of desire of like, I belong and I'm needed because I complete. That creates camaraderie, which drives towards the mission, drives towards the focus. So anything you'd like to say kind of in closing about the camaraderie?
Two closing thoughts. There was a time when our whole church didn't have it. Remember years ago that we were not as effective. And do you remember what we didn't have then?
We didn't have unity at the top.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
Meaning we weren't at the top. We didn't have unity. And when we were not unified, and so I'm saying that because someone listening going, oh man, they're perfect or they think they're perfect. No,
Right.
like we were not perfect.
Correct.
We're not perfect now, but we really weren't perfect then, and it impacted the whole organization.
For sure.
And so it matters so much. The second thing I want to say is that these conversations are very unscripted. You got a couple of questions, but we're just really flowing.
Right.
And if you've noticed, what have we referred to? We've referred to something yesterday.
Yep.
And we referred to something else yesterday.
Yep.
Meaning our stories are current. We're in this thing together. And
Correct.
that's what I really want to encourage all of our leaders out there is like to have current stories where you're engaged in the team, where you don't have to go back to the glory days or remember when,
Right.
but that your people are so valuable that you are in the moment, present with them, showing appreciation, adding value, and winning together. And if you want to have it, you got to have the camaraderie. And if you don't have the camaraderie, you're never going to have it.